Hello, and welcome to the Women of Consciousness podcast. Today, I wanted to come on with intention and really talk about exploring the structure of consciousness through the current paradigm shift that we're experiencing as a collective. Natalie and I have talked about, oh gosh, like a year and a half ago, realistically, I think it's been. We did a bunch of different episodes. We were talking about like the wounded masculine and feminine, and then like the healed divine energy of the masculine and feminine. And we were really like symbolically looking at that within like the yin and yang and unity consciousness. And I just really kind of want to expand because, like I said, it's been about a year and a half since some of those conversations really took place. And in the past, oh gosh, 7 months, especially, have been really going through my own very transformative um, process. And I've been taking notes a lot and really observing and really witnessing what's happening on these deeper levels, and really this whole like individuation process, right? This wholeness and the stages of consciousness. And I really love the way that through my journey specifically, I am able to really remove the veil, right? Remove this illusion of egoic reality and see the structure, the bigger structure of consciousness. And sometimes that has been through my experiences in the like psychedelic retreat space specifically. Some of it has been in my own just journey, healing and whatnot, and ascension processes. And so it all just comes full circle and it's another point of integration right now. It's spring in the Northern Hemisphere. We just celebrated Beltane. And so just a lot of beautiful new energies of new beginnings and rebirth. And again, looking at where I've been on my personal life and career and whatnot, and how that's grown and shown me these deeper structural energies. Sometimes it feels really hard to articulate. And so there's like a little bit of a struggle there trying to get like the imagery into words. So I'm going to do my best with some metaphors and hope that this really just kind of reaches people in the right way that it's meant to. So like I said, looking back, Natalie and I were really having conversations around masculine and feminine energy and what that looked like. So going deeper to now, I kind of want to embrace that masculine and feminine energy, and not in like a person sense of an individual, but more in a structure, right? In this container of energy. So looking at, trying to think of a good example. Okay, so I'm just gonna like use the retreat space because honestly, that's where a lot has emerged for me. Holding space as a facilitator and an integration coach for some of these really powerful healing retreats that I've seen, and regardless if it's breath work or a psilocybin, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's different ways that consciousness appears, right? And wants to be seen and heard and witnessed. And so as I have navigated the internal structure of the masculine and feminine and brought that into balance, which relates to some of those previous episodes, like I said, now looking at how that externally relates in this like container that we're in. And people talk about all the time, right? The matrix, the patriarchy, there's all kinds of different names for this container that we're currently living as a society and a collective energy. It just varies, I guess, depending on the country and time and place in the world that you are living in right now. So it's going to look a little bit different but the overall thing is that it's a masculine, right? We know this. It's a masculine container, this patriarchy, whatever, this energy. And so what's happened is it's the wounded masculine, right? It's the controlling, the I have to protect and provide structure. So it's gonna like constrict, right? And so if you think about like pillars, when you're constructing a building, right? You need those security pillars to hold and anchor all of the rest of the building. Um, so like the masculine energy is the pillars for those container spaces. And being in the retreats that I've been in, I've been able to like fully embody, embrace, and explore the depths of what that looks and feels like energetically. It's like the bottom of the ocean, right? Where you're not meant to be there anymore because like you're going to be crushed. The pressure is going to crush you to death, or like being buried to death under the soil so far down. Like there's just like such a restriction of life force that you're crushed and buried. And that's what it feels like when you're controlled and restricted. There's no light, there's no spark, there's no feminine, there's no creativeness there's no life force, because it's just anchoring and holding the grid. And so like that's kind of where we're at currently, right? We have this really intense wounded masculine energy that is holding and anchoring through like the ley lines and the grids and of Gaia's consciousness, right? So not so much a room or a building, but now if we look at the globe and the planet and we look at these energetic ley lines and points of consciousness, and how the planet is shifting and how her consciousness is rising, right? Because like she can't be constricted through these dark forces anymore. It reaches a breaking point. And so either you succumb to it and you are like solidified into stone, statue. There's no feeling, right? That's why there's no empathy, there's no compassion, there's no remorse. There's like such a lack of emotion that you are just stone. Or it's able to break you, right? And we see this in like the diamond, and how like it's able to like be transformed and whatever. And so it's like that moment where like the spark of life, of creation, where the pressure has reached like a point where it can't exceed anymore, and now like either the death occurs or the life occurs. And within that spark, it really is this the feminine energy of creation, right? The cosmic ocean of consciousness. And what are we going to create, right? What are we going to put into this metaphorical womb space, or this seed? What are we going to bury into like the depths of this pressure and this darkness that is then going to transform the structure and grow into it? And so the feminine, we know the feminine has been stifled. We know like our ancestors have gone through cycles of matriarchy, which we no longer, are in balance with in our civilization currently. And so those that are on the spiritual path, that are attuned and awake and aware, know like the feminine, right? The feminine is on a rise, and it's been happening oh gosh, for quite some time now, and in waves. And so as the feminine continues to come back from this spark of life into creation, right? Was it doing to the masculine container? Was it doing to the paradigm that we're living in, the matrix, the patriarchal system? Well, it's shining a light in all of the shadows. It's shining a light on all of the darkness that has been part of the container structure. So we've been seeing that playing out for years now in society, especially I think as media and entertainment and technology has just really advanced and grown. And again, even just looking at astrology, I think we've talked about that in the past. Astrology, Jupiter and Scorpio, when that return happened, that was like the year of the Me Too movement. So those things, are happening because they're meant to be shown to the collective so that we can heal and move forward. And so, like, that's kind of just where we are at. Once again, we're dealing with wounded feminine and wounded masculine energy within a container space of the planet. And so it's different. And I love it because Nikola Tesla had said, like, if you understood frequency, vibration, and energy 369, you'd get the secrets to the world, the universe, whatever. And really, like, that's the basic structural building blocks is like, what frequency is your energy vibrating at? Is it a low dense vibration, or is it ascending into higher vibrations? And it's a spectrum, right? Whether you look at like a rainbow spectrum symbolically, or an orchestra, like, we're all an instrument and we're in tune or we're out of tune. So that's another way symbolically to kind of look metaphorically at yourself and, where things feel in and out of alignment vibrationally. But the point is that the paradigm, the container, is built on a forceful, constricting, wounded masculine energy at a collective level. And so it's not, it is individual because we're all responsible for our own individual blueprint, soul print, energy, vibration. And that was kind of my previous podcast episode, and in some ways was calling people to that responsibility of what that entails for you. Because it's a time to rise up, right? We're not meant to allow this darkness, this dense pressure to keep crushing and stifling us. We're meant to allow the creative, the feminine, to flow back through to the spark. It's really, just to be there in that energetic space and to witness and to see and to feel, like I said, my journey that I've gone through in the last 6-7 months, and all the different stages of the underworld. And then, this rebirth as spring has emerged. It's so profound. And I feel so called to just be open and honest and authentic and really share that, because we're all going through it. It just depends on how aware you are of yourself and your consciousness and the cycles and the patterns and the synchronicities. If you're caught up in the illusions and the fears and the narratives that are meant to help you grow, we're going to always have challenges. Human man-made stuff's always going to fall apart. It's beyond that. It's more meaningful through connection and understanding that everything and everyone is a mirror of exactly where you are at in your journey, of exactly where you're projecting, how you're experiencing the world around you. That in itself is the structural eye of consciousness. And so for me, in my moment of expansion, I have been seeing and feeling the third eye and the throat more as one, more as that center eye of conscious, and recognizing how truly ingrained and wired they are, and really focusing on the zeal point chakra at the back of the neck, and really working with reprogramming this like reptilian kind of DNA that our species is really evolving past. And I think a lot of people can relate, because if it feels like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and you're done, right? You don't want to carry all this weight. It's heavy. You're tired of your neck and your shoulders and like all this bodily pain. And you just want to drop it, right? You're trying to cut the cords. You're trying to cut the energy leaks or build boundaries, to have a sense of lightness, especially after winter, right? It was very heavy energy for all of the people that I really knew doing the work, because we are such such deep down, and into the soil, and there's so much pressure there. And so now it's like, okay, we've popped through the soil, right? Our seeds have rooted, and we're starting to, blossom, right? And so you feel this lightness now. It's like shaking off the dust, shaking off this residual energy of what you no longer need to carry. And that's beautiful. That's this rebirth. That's this freshness. That's the pendulum swinging, right, from the depths of winter solstice into the other end of the summer solstice. Or vice versa. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you may be feeling the heaviness, starting to increase and whatnot. So looking structurally, I would say look at the seed, right? Look at the seed that is your energy, that is your manifestations, that are your intentions for the life that you want to create, and really think about what is in that seed. What is the DNA, what is the energy? If it's filled with fears and self-doubt and worries, um that's what's going to continue to grow, right? That's what's going to continue to build the structure that's going to be the gardens that you're producing from. But if you're able to continue to rise up and do the work and recognize that there's deeper meaning and purpose to things that are happening for us all as a collective, or especially on our through our individual journeys and our alignments, that's where the work truly happens. If we can self-regulate and follow triggers and do the shadow work and face the ego wounds and the illusion, and continue to like integrate all these beautiful aspects of psyche, and recognize how much is really just outdated programming that is meant to be healed and cleared. And then thinking about the beauty of what we're creating and where we're going. And this is where I think the struggle is right now, because we're in the chaos theory of it all, right? We're in the tumultuous, like, cosmic ocean, and there's the potential of everything, right? The potential is limitless. What do we really want to create? And so that in itself can be very overwhelming. But I think what the higher vibration that really we're being called to, that feels so scary, is love and compassion and empathy and healing. And so as all of the cracks in the container continue, to get shooken up and dissipated, and the evolution part of consciousness is trying to create something new at a higher evolution, we have to anchor in, right? We have to anchor in that higher grid. And I know there are people out there that get that know that have been doing that for quite some time. And even myself, I'm seeing that so much with much, much more clarity these days. Really, really, truly feel like I am anchoring something from the cosmos down into Gaia's grid line, that some people aren't ready for, that is quite scary to my own ego, because in some ways it's meant to, like, right, help with some illusions and some things for my own healing journey. But knowing that each time I'm really tapping into my heart space and this ancient remembering and awakening, and that's what is happening collectively to all of us. I'll be honest, I had a really powerful night last night, and that's why I'm fumbling for words, because it's so fresh and I'm still trying to integrate it. But it was so profound and powerful. Like, I love to channel with water. And so to get into extremely hot water for a couple of hours and make it like a ritual, like ritualistic ceremony in itself. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's just a beautiful gift that I've been given. And lately I've been tapping in, I would say, to the cosmic ocean and really understanding the true depths of it and not getting, and I think for people that have a lot of Pisces placements, they'll understand that, the sink or swim kind of mentality, the current, and what it takes to really learn how to navigate these ocean waters. And I feel finally at home in peace, and just understanding of it, and then recognizing the womb space of creation that is really within those waters, and how to anchor and manifest and channel and bring that over, um as well as recognizing that we're co-creators with the universe. And so when we truly do the healing and get out of our own way and open ourselves to receiving, knowing what's meant for us cannot and will not be blocked. Um, like beautiful, it feels like miraculous opportunities have unfolded. Um, so with that, I will, I guess, announce that, like, Women of Consciousness, we have received a scholarship to be able to go to the Denver, Colorado psychedelic science convention. So I'm really, really excited with that. I'm going to be able to go spend like a week and go to just different talks and workshops and just be able to network. And that in itself feels like such a blessing and a gift. I'm really, really grateful. I truly believe in the power of, just psychedelic and plant medicine. And again, that's been my own initiation and journey. And then because of that, I'm also going to be speaking at the main Fungi Fest in, I believe, Portland, Sanford area, St. Joseph's College campus. That's going to be a weekend filled with speakers and workshops, vendors, all kinds of educational things, therapists. Just all kinds of exciting perspectives on where we're at, trying to, get clinical healing as well as, retreats. Like I said, that's kind of my forte. And so with that, I get to do a topic on hosting safe and effective retreats for facilitators and, participants. So really, really excited to embrace some new beginnings on my journey, and now kind of step up the public speaking. Oh man, it'll be way different. It's more structured. See, there we go. The structure, intention, right? About, the structure of that, and then the creation of the words that will come for that message. I love with the podcast though, because I can just hop on here and just kind of hit, good live and put in a topic, and then just let intuition really guide based on that topic. And I like having like the play, right? It feels like just swimming around in the ocean right now, and just whatever's meant to be channeled and come through does. And then just knowing that whoever's meant to find the episodes will. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. And I'm really just grateful for the avenue and the channel, and for those that continue to support and show up. I'm recognizing the true container of Women of Consciousness, and the true potential and the true power of what Natalie and I created. It's based on 4 pillars. And it's funny because when we came together, like, we had this vision, but I mean, it was 2 people, right, merging together, and it was a big vision, and we just knew, like, we'll wrangle it, we'll tackle it, we'll figure it out and bring it in. But like, there's no denying the magic there that was, being ready to be born. And so we created the structure based on 4 pillars of consulting, educating, facilitating, and Oh my gosh, educating. Did I say that one? Educating, facilitating, consulting. Coaching. Yeah, coaching. Hello, integration coach Pam. So, anyways, yeah. But it was beautiful. We had a mission, we had a vision, we really got that all together. And then we've had to kind of come together and go apart and do some different things. And like, I've been over here looking at the structure all winter and really looking at like, what am I creating? What am I building? What am I holding on to? What am I anchoring? What am I letting go of? And so on my own individual level, I can see it in all areas of my life with, meaningful friendships that are continuing after a few years, to really blossom, and navigating what that looks like in an intentional healing community, right? I mean, that's really what it is. It's this beautiful group of people that decided to heal themselves and find other people like them, right? And a lot of people I know are still looking for their people. They'll say that a lot when I do readings, or even in the women's circles that I've hosted. People come in and just say, trying to find my team. And so I feel like I found my soul team, my tribe, and we've been really navigating what that looks like as a community and a collective, when egos and shadow work and, even narcissism, drama, all of these things are part of the human journey. And, narcissism, I would say every single human has narcissism. Absolutely. But it's like 1 to 10, this volume range. Do you have a mild or an intense narcissistic personality? And I think right now we're seeing some public extreme narcissism that verges on sociopathic. Uh, but that's the container, right? Showing its cracks, and it's bringing it to light. And so to understand this lower level density of consciousness and how it's trying to elevate, we just can't allow it to constrict the container. There's no need to allow it to have all the power and pressure that it controls and stifles out all of the beauty and life and creation of the feminine that's rising. And the feminine won't allow it. And the masculine is meant to awaken. So I think this is where men, more than anything, or very masculine dominant individuals, because again, that can be feminine as well, or whatever. I don't want to limit, because we're talking about energy and we're not specifically talking about people, but masculine, like you have to, like, it's got to get out of the mind space of the structure and soften the walls, let the walls crumble. And the only way to do that is through the heart space. And that's really what we are anchoring in, is a higher vibration of love and harmony and peace and unity. And it's going to take some time, but for those that are on the path, don't get caught up in the ego illusions that are mirroring back to you. And I think recognizing that the ego has a lot of protectors and a lot of defense mechanisms that are subconscious. So yeah, it's like you do the inner child work, you reparent yourself, you find your masculine and feminine, you deal with healing those, bring those inner unity. But then it's the coin flips, and there's a whole nother side of the psyche. And it's really like, now once, there's a solid soul base that you found, there's a way to start the dissolution of the ego, because you have a core sense of self. If you don't have a core sense of self, the ego can't dissipate. The ego can't break down. The ego can't look at itself and hold itself accountable or responsible in any way. It's not going to, because it's an ego. and it's the smoke and mirrors. It's the illusion. It to be told it's a lie, it's fake, that all you've ever known in reality is a lie. You have to have a strong sense of self to be able to handle that. And that's why there's not a lot of people out there at this level of work. But it's coming. It's coming in waves. And for those that are on the path and that have been doing the work and have been doing the shadow work and the soul integration, I would say expect to go deeper into the iceberg and now be like looking up at the other side and just getting a whole new perspective. Um, and the work carries. And I would say like the IFS, internal family systems for therapy, like that's great. Like that's totally meant to work with the ego. So I strongly suggest that if it is something that people struggle with and need help, get support, have support. Um, because it's not the easiest journey at all. And with the egoic part of us, it's recognizing like we're human, right? We're human. We're a species of consciousness, and we're not this big hierarchy, like top of the like I don't know, like it's just going to knock the ego down some pegs. For those that are ready, for those that can handle it. And it's what's needed. It's what's needed to ascend. It's the only way to continue the ascension process. So at some point, the eye of consciousness, it's going to continue to look at the structure within itself and how it's built and how it's wired, and then how that's mirrored and reflected back externally. And all I'm saying in this episode is if you're doing the work and you understand what I'm saying, and you're on the path and you're like, yeah, this sucks and it's hard, but oh man, I'm doing it. Then just really look to the future of what we're anchoring in. Like, don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in the chaos, right? We know everything is exactly as it's meant to be. The darkness is coming to light so that the container can be fractured. And now it's time to think about what we're creating. Where are we really putting our energy? What are we anchoring in? Are we just staying in the chaos of the mist and the smoke? Are we just playing the mirrors game too? Or are we rising above, right? Because we need to be a clear vessel. We need to be anchoring into the grid below our feet as we're anchoring in higher consciousness. And I strongly suggest, intention, doing it with intention. I've been calling in my ancestors, guides, archangels, and ascended masters and working with that beautiful energetic spiritual team. The Violet Flame, Saint Germain and the Violet Flame, and Archangel Michael. Just such beautiful, beautiful energy. The Pleiadians. It really is. I know a lot of people are familiar with like Atlantis, but it's the rise of Lemuria, the feminine. Like we need to come and rise in our heart spaces. Coming back to the cosmic oneness of the ocean and recognizing, everybody is on their own individual path. And I think this is where for couples, not even couples, but like friends, I mean, just people like families, when you're so entwined, when the quantum entanglement is so entwined, like this is a good way to look at the container. Look at the container of what's been created, because you'll see who has the dominant masculine energy, because they're the ones who are going to hold the container. They're going to be the ones that hold the power. And honestly, it would shine in toxic relationships through power, control, manipulation, narcissism. If you're just doing, I hate to say it, but it's like the happy wife, happy life mentality. Like, oh, if I just people please my partner, so like life will be smooth, like the container, right, won't be shaken. But how are you feeling in that space of your like your podium, right? Your spine as your lifeline, as your column that's holding and anchoring you into that structure. How does it feel? Like, are you just watching Are you feeling the pressure? Like, are you feeling the creative energy? Are you feeling the inner child and the playfulness of the creative energy? Like, I mean, there's different times and different ways we tap into all of that. But if it all just feels so heavy and forceful and like, yeah, and then the cracks, right? When the cracks come and the light's shown and you see behind the mask of the other people in your life, how do you navigate that and deal with that? Yeah, I mean, I'll admit for me, like I saw shadow selves of people so easy on, but I just had compassion and understanding because it's my empathic nature. Like, I understand the trauma, I understand the pain. I'd been through a lot of that myself. Like, looking back at my marriage, oh my gosh, I see how he restricted and controlled and contained it all. That it was to the point that I didn't even know who like a true sense of self and identity. When you're just know yourself as a mother or a wife, somebody's daughter, somebody's parent, somebody, this role in a job, that's not self. That's just a label and perspectives of other people and whatnot. So like the first things on the spiritual awakening path is like all of that is stripped, right? Identities, the profiles, the conditioning of what we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to act. Like those are like early stages of awakening. I'm talking decade later, nonstop, round after round of now like deeper, deeper um decalcification of the pineal gland and unification of chakras and energy fields and energy bodies, with higher levels of ascension. And I will definitely admit, I feel like I'm in my own plane of existence most days. Watching a lot of humanity still in fear and awakening. And I just have compassion for that. And I see now more clearly why my journey began when it began and the roles of the people that, helped me to grow and evolve and heal and awaken and to kind of get to where I'm at now. And now knowing that I am at a beautiful place of transcendence to hold and anchor this new grid, this new paradigm that's coming in, through intention and integrity and just a high vibration of love and unity. And I know I'm not alone. I know that I'm definitely not alone, and I think that's fearful to us, that we feel this call to live from an open heart, to show up authentically in the world without feeling like I have to hide behind a professional label or persona to be taken seriously, or like I have to have all of these things to like, prove myself in some way, when the truth is like internally we know our own journey that nobody else will ever know or see, and and no one's ever going to be able to see that aspect. So there comes a point where it's like there's you don't even look for validation. What's the point of validation? You have validation from the universe, and that's all that you really truly need. And I'm grateful for that beautiful gift. And so here I am just trusting, right, and in the voice that I know I'm supposed to share, and the messages that I'm supposed to kind of anchor in and bring to the souls that are meant to hear it, that are open and ready to receive. Maybe you're on the path already, or maybe that's kind of coming. Because we are at a new beginning phase in the Northern Hemisphere, or kind of going into the death, in the Southern Hemisphere. So it all, but it's all a continuous cycle. It's why life and death are always happening at once, continuously. the more you tap into nature, I mean, the more that I feel like you break down those barriers, and it's easy for you to feel it. And that's just, I don't know, it's just where I'm at. It's overwhelming to put into words the way that I am embodying and living and navigating from the spiritual and the physical plane. Yeah, the upper and the lower and the higher realms, all in this one. So I'm trying to find words for it. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's definitely Anana, queen of the heaven and earth. And yeah, so it's a beautiful, beautiful. I'm really grateful. I'm so honored and so grateful. And so I just, just this reminder to trust in your light, trust in your intuition. We are meant to collapse the current structure. We are meant to rebuild something new. But we can't do that unless we face the shadows, unless we heal the past. This work has been ongoing as a collective, but there's still a lot of people carrying low vibrational energies that are still navigating from those places of fear and hatred and separation. So it's a journey that's just beginning for humanity. Realistically, we're in our our baby phases of this age of Aquarius, but it's exciting. And I think if we just look at the potential of the beauty of a world, with the structures as they fall apart and the systems that weren't working to begin with, right? How can it really truly be rebuilt? How can we take accountability and responsibility and ownership for our soul and our vessel and what we're anchoring in and creating for, civilizations and generations to come? Because here's our chance to learn from history, right? We see the red flags, we see warning signs. Like, here's our chance to not repeat the patterns, to wake up from the synchronicities and those patterns and recognize that there's something bigger happening here on a collective level that is sparking us individually. And to recognize that, don't let the fear, that's where shadow work begins, is reclaiming, your aspects of yourself and discovering the soul that's been taught and constricted. Really, it's been constricted and then taught to be, like, kept out of the container. And it's just not going to happen anymore, not with the rise of the feminine. So I guess that's really all I wanted to share today. Um, like I said, I'm still integrating it and exploring it all myself and coming full circle with a lot of it after continuous revelations, self-awareness and whatnot in this beautiful community space container that I am lucky to have created and to be able to explore consciousness through. And with that, it's my soul's mission and purpose to just kind of share and give back and to be a voice and a guide for others. So that's why I'm here. And I'm going to continue to trust in that process and follow it, because it's the only thing that honestly really feels amazingly good, like this, like to feel like in alignment, just in alignment with everything. I think that's, what subconsciously everyone's looking for, where we're taught to consumerism and materialistic things, right? Coping mechanisms and addictions, it all turns into excessiveness because we're looking for this void, this space. And really, that's been a whole part of this journey as well for me. and discovering that and recognizing that for what it is in the separation of this cosmic womb space, and then coming back to it, and realizing that we're not alone. We're not really separated, right? It's kind of the birthing process when you're in the uterus in the womb and connected by the umbilical cord. And then we're birthed through this painful process for both the mother and the child. And then the cords are cut and there's all this space, right? There's all this emptiness now, and you just feel this. And then you're just handed over, and it's the recognition of heartbeat and breath that brings and unites the baby and the mother. But from that, there begins all the attachment traumas and all of the, conditional traumas and the container, right? Because what's birthed in what container is it birthed into? So that's kind of where we are collectively. But that's the root. Like, that's the root of where we're all being led back to, is that original womb space of our soul's birth. Because we feel so alone in these bodies navigating this physical plane. But it's an illusion. We're always connected, and the cosmic ocean of oneness, the womb space, like you're swimming in it right now. And to tap in and feel that vibrational frequency of love and creativity and abundance. Oh my God, it's a game changer. And that is what, that's the wave. That's the ascension wave that we're all on, a different rainbow hue or with our different instrument in our orchestra. Right. We're trying to find harmony. We're bringing it all in a harmony. So keep practicing your instrument. It's how you become a master alchemist, by, figuring out how to transmute and transcend. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm just so grateful. And I'm so in awe of this journey and what it really, truly feels and means to be human. And for those that are just living in the chaos and the fear and the uncertainty because your whole world has been torn apart and shaken upside down or is falling apart, and the cracks in the container are no longer avoidable or deniable, I have compassion for you. I have love and healing and support for you. I've been there a million times, and I'm sure I'll be there again. But the difference is the level of awareness of the structure and being a co-creator with it now. And I will say it lies in the ego and the dissipation of the illusions that the ego creates and builds and is programmed into. So just continue on your path with the shadow work. Trust in the alchemy of your soul. It will guide you through the stages in your development, where you're at, where you need to be. Find the support systems. Know that if you're looking for your community and your people, the more you do the work, it's going to happen. You'll become that vibrational alignment. But you also need to be open to receiving, and to be open to giving. It's a flow, right? Ebb and flow. Come into your heart space. Recognize the mind for the smoke and mirrors projection 3D matrix of what it is. Come back to your heart. Come back to the truth of the love and forgiveness and compassion and the understanding. And I guess that's kind of my final words of advice with this podcast. I'm in talks to do an episode with a woman who has been using psychedelics to heal a heart condition that she was born with. So I'm hoping that will happen next week. It will be my next episode. Still looking to just make some more collaborations and just really have some meaningful, impactful topics. And then I guess I just want to give a brief update as well on Veteran Psychedelic Network. Lena did an episode with me last fall. I think it's probably been our most successful video over like all the platforms. We are talking weekly. I love Lena. We have plans to do, more podcasts together. She's actually one of the event collaborators of the Maine Fungi Fest, and we'll be doing some speeches and workshops. Goodness, there. But the page, the Veteran Psychedelic Network page on Facebook, kind of got flagged recently. And again, right, this work that we're doing to bring healing to communities. She had some newspaper magazine articles come out about her work in her community. And I know she had a rise in popularity or whatever, people that were excited to really find her community that she was offering to veterans and their families that are really looking, to help heal through plant medicine or psychedelics. But we are, standing strong in our mission, and we're going to navigate and rebuild. Like I said, the Veteran Psychedelic Network will have a presence at Maine Fungi Fest. But right now, while social media and the containers of the matrix continue to try to stifle the light that is shining and the healing and the evolution that's trying to anchor into the new paradigm, we're not giving up. We're spiritual warriors, and we're here for a reason. So we'll come back bigger and stronger with a better structure than ever. You can guarantee that, baby. So love and light, and but definitely dive into the depths of the shadows, because that's where light is going to shine and show you what needs to be seen. And then integration is key for everything. So yeah, thank you for being here, and have a wonderful day.